Welcome back, Those Devils, to another episode of your podcast, Dusty Pod. My name is Emmanuel Reyes.
And I'm Rosalinda Puentes. And for this episode, we have current president of SGA, Preston Salazar. Can you introduce yourself, Preston?
Hi everybody, my name is Preston Salazar. I am a current junior here at Texas A&M International University, majoring in political science, and like they had mentioned, I am the current president of the Student Government Association for the academic year 2022 and 2023.
Awesome, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So professional.
I gotta be.
Okay, so for those that don't know, what is SGA? What do you guys do? Can you just give us a little more information about that?
Yeah, of course. So the Student Government Association is basically an association here on campus that works towards connecting students with administration. How we like to describe it is like a bridge between the two, right? So if like students ever need have any problems with the current system, or if they have any ideas or anything that they would like to give to the higher ups, we are basically the people who take that in. We make a certain legislation, or we make a meeting with the appropriate offices or administration, and we pass those ideas onto the higher ups so that we can see that those plans come into action and hopefully become a reality.
Okay, so you are like the face of the students towards the higher ends of TAMU?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So SGA is this student organization and everything. So how long have you been a part of SGA?
Well, first of all, this is, I said I'm a junior, but this is actually my second year in college. So last year was my first year in college, and my first semester ever, I decided to get involved into the Student Government Association. So I kind of came in as a freshman, which usually is not supposed to happen, but somehow I got my application accepted and I was able to join the Student Government Association. So I've been at it this is my fourth semester. So last year I started off as a senator for the College of Arts and Sciences, and along with SGA as well, I also became the event coordinator for our political action committee as a part of Student Government Association. So I was handling those two roles within the student government, and that's basically how I started off.
Okay, so you have your plate full, different positions.
No. Yeah, so so burnout was real, right?
Yeah.
So last year I had those two roles, and then I also took up, I believe, another role as event coordinator as well. I had a monopoly over that role, and the pre-law society here, and then I was also the political affairs director for the College Democrats on campus.
Wow,
Yeah.
you had your plate full.
Yeah, freshman mistakes though,
But some
That's good, though.
other
Yeah.
freshmen like me wouldn't join anything. It's just just go to the classes, keep your head down, and go back home.
Yeah.
And you were the complete opposite. Nah, I'm gonna be here, this, and this, and you went all in, man.
Yeah, so I actually had two friends that they were already here at TAMU for 1 year, and so when I was getting into it, they kind of inspired me to go and be somebody more in TAMU rather than just being a student. So shout out Angel and Donna for being those people for me. They were the ones who were hey, you should join all these orgs, they're really good and they can really help you develop you as a leader. And those were the people who were really pushing me out to go do projects and such. So that's actually one of the reasons why. I mean, this wasn't a self thing, because I was very much okay, I should stick to academics, right? I don't think I have time for orgs right now. And they were no, I think that if you're able to manage yourself and you're able to go out there and actually set times for everything, you'll be perfect. So they were huge change makers in my life.
And that's great to have those kind of friends,
It really is.
Yeah, because I mean, not to shit on other friends, but sometimes you have those type of friends that don't push you to be better, just push you to be you in the way don't do anything, just chill out, or just invited you to parties or anything, which it isn't bad to go to parties, right? But to have that persistence of your friends with you and to push you and to
academically more than anything.
Yeah,
Academically, that's amazing.
Exactly. That's like you said, a shout out to your friends, and that's great.
They real ones for real.
They really are.
Keep with those friends, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so with everything on your plate, what prompted you to become president?
Well, let's start off with this, right?
Yeah.
Back in 6th grade, my teacher, this story goes back to 6th grade, right?
That's great. I love those stories.
Okay,
So
tell me all.
back in 6th grade, right? My science teacher at the time handed me this slip for a program called Text Prep here at TAMU. And it was a summer STEM program that kind of gets you ready for high school classes. The whole mission was to put you ahead of the curve for when you go into those higher classes, you already know what you're kind of doing. So my teacher was hey, apply for this program and go check it out. And she's I think you'd be awesome for it. I'm okay, cool. Me at 12, 11, I was oh yeah, sure, I'll try it, right? So I spent 4 summers in that program. So it was 6th grade to 7th summer, 7th to 8th, 8th to 9th. I'm pretty sure I'm missing one, I think 9th to 10th grade summer as well. From there, I spent 4 summers at TAMU. And then my middle school is Memorial, right? So I transferred when I graduated from middle school. I went to early college here at TAMU as well. So I already had 4 summers at TAMU, 4 years at TAMU. And so I was thinking in my head when I graduated and I actually was was here at Dusty Camp, I was thinking like, okay, this place has given me so much throughout these past years since I was like not even a teenager. And I'm thinking to myself like, how am I going to give back to the institution, right? Because like it's provided me so much free education, it's provided me all these like head starts. How am I going to do it? And so my friend, she was an orientation leader at the time, Durley, she actually introduced me to the idea of joining the Student Government Association, and she thought that would be a pretty good fit for it. So I said, okay, cool, this is a good org to join. Like, I want to see what this is all about. So I believe I had met the recently elected student body president, vice president, which was Lourdes Borman and Alejandra Peña, and they basically, I met them at like one of those info sessions with like the trifles and such.
Oh, yeah.
And they talked to me about the organization, and they told me more about it and how they're the bridge and such. The same analogy I gave y'all.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is awesome. I really want to join this. And so as I kept on going into it, I looked at the organization and I was like, this is something I'm really passionate about. Like it was taking a lot of my time, but it didn't feel like a job. Like it felt like something I wanted to keep going even through years. And I was like, well, if I have this passion for this university and have this passion for this association, and I think that I know I could do good for this association, why not run for president, right? It could have gone two ways, right? I became president and I would accomplish things, or like I would be the face of students, or I don't win, but like I still like get that experience for next year if I want to run again. So, and it was not an easy decision, right? So I had the Trailblazers page open with the forum where you like go and like sign up.
Yeah.
And so I was like, like I literally hesitated like a good 4 times, took a walk around my house, came back a good 3 times, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Threw myself into cold water, and now here I am.
Damn.
Damn, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So why you froze? Like you just tell us this great story, like since 6th grade elementary, knowing TAMU and being passionate. Why at that moment of applying did you freeze out? Knowing like, okay, I already did all this, I already have all this background. Why do you think that moment you just froze?
I think it was as I mentioned before, like freshman mistakes, right? Like I did commit a lot of times to orgs, and I could see that my academics was kind of like teetering a bit. And so I was thinking to myself, like, do I have the time manage skills for this? Or like, it was just a lot of self-doubt, right? Yeah. I was hyping myself up like, oh, I can be president. But when it really came to like putting in the actual like application, I thought about it and I was like, man, can I do this? Like, it's just it's just those thoughts that you have in your head before you make a big decision. Like a bunch of what ifs, right?
Yeah.
But never the positive what ifs. It's always the negative what ifs that come in before you make the decision.
Those are the ones that like consume you.
Yeah, they're the ones that hold you back the most.
Yeah.
Totally.
And so I want to say that in my head, I just said like, F it, like, I just dropped the application. Like I was like, okay, or by drop I mean I submitted it, and I was like, okay, let's just see what happens, right?
And look at you, man.
Yeah,
right now.
Who would have thought?
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
A year later, and you are current SGA president.
I know, it's crazy.
And so after a year, I'm assuming everything much like a lot of things has happened to you as a president of SGA. Mm-hmm. So we want to ask you, like, can you tell us one of your best or a really, really proud moment of you while being president?
So I'm gonna start off with the last administration, right? So the last administration, or the last few I want to say, for the past 5 years, they hadn't sent in a resolution or a bill through the Senate for a while. So like a resolution is basically an announcement by your Senate saying like, hey, the student government should do this. And a bill is like, hey, we need to make this program into action, right? So we hadn't done that when I was a senator for like the past 5 years. So I talked to a couple of people and we were able to draft up a resolution that basically established a tradition by the Student Government Association for breast cancer awareness. So that resolution went through our student senate. It was the first time that anybody had seen it in a while. That got passed through and we were able to establish that tradition where we wear pink on Wednesdays, right? And we try to advocate for all these things. We start posting up statistical data around campus as well. That time it was very unheard of, right? To do like that because, the tradition wasn't there. People didn't really know the processes of it. That changed this year. This year, we were supposed to have like 2 resolutions in a bill right now. And that was way more than we had ever done like in the past. And so seeing the senators right now like really like advocating for these needs, creating surveys, going to committee meetings, setting up meetings with their dean and other administration, them creating like legislation that could benefit the university was amazing. Like for example, I believe we had a bill on menstrual products like to be funded by the university. We're thinking of having a bill to have the Student Government Association officers require at least 2 community service events as a part of the responsibilities. Like all this forming and shaping that I'm seeing, like that's what made me proud. I mean, like I said, like I hadn't seen that, nobody had seen that. Being able to be one of the, I guess, the pillars of that change making in the Student Government Association is something that really spoke to my heart, because like as I stated before, I felt really passionate about SGA, and I knew looking at other campuses that we could have been something a lot bigger than we were before. And now I'm seeing the association grow in confidence, in productivity, and just as people all around it. That's got to be my best moment as president.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You've accomplished a good amount during your 1 year.
You're literally making changes in the university.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I don't want to say that a lot of it is me. It's just that we had such a good like cohort this year. This past administration was just filled with a lot of people, a lot of weird characters, a lot of quirky characters, right? But like hardworking characters. You get me? Like people who actually like care about what they want to do. Like
they get the job done.
That was it. I mean, I speak to administration, yes, but these are the people who are out there making these plans and making these projects. So like shout out to those guys, because they're the ones who are really pushing things forward.
Is there any like sort of issues that you came across during your presidency?
During my presidency, I want to say my worst enemy throughout my presidency, just like in the application, was myself, right? So I'm gonna give you an insight. Once you become student body president, you're already like appointing people to committees. You're already making your executive board and everything. So it's a very fast process. Like once you pick it up, it's like, all right, for example, like I believe like a week or two into the presidency, got called from the VP at the time, VP Student Affairs at the time, Dr. Minita Ramirez. She called me. She's like, hey, who are you gonna appoint for CSAC, which is like a committee that talks to the chancellor. And I was like, oh, what is that? like I don't know what that is. Let me think. Like that was in my head, right? So I was like, oh yeah, let me think about it for a bit, right? And at the call, I'm like, oh. So I went to go talk to my advisor. I'm like, what's CSAC? And then they had to explain it to me. So like what I'm trying to say is like it's a huge learning curve.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like you gotta learn a lot. And for me, like there was a huge learning process when it came to it, right? When it came to interacting with administration. When you're in a professional setting like that, you can't be like too forward putting. You can't just be like, you know what I mean? Like you want to go in there for change, but you have to do it at a moderate pace, right? You can't just like slam your fist on the table and go, hey, we want this, right? Because then they're just gonna look at you and be like, okay, he's just acting like a child. Like he's not there for conversation. He's there for conflict. And so that's something that I had to deal with, because I'm somebody who comes off as super aggressive when I speak, especially when it's something like I care about like that. So like moderating myself, looking at it from another person's shoe as well, right? You can't be blinded by your own perspective, because that blinds you from what they're trying to tell you. You get me? You have your feet so far like into your ground that you can't step forward to see what the other person's side looks like. And so that's definitely something that I had to deal with. So it was just like, okay, Preston, remember, you're here for conversation. Think about the things that they're saying. Take it into account as well. Even if it doesn't go on your side, take it into account and see how you can work with it, right? I needed to let go of the mindset that I'm not going to get everything that I want or that the students want, but I'm going to have to try my best to negotiate and to find a middle ground to everything. You get me?
Yeah, exactly. Not be too like close and like, oh, if not the way that I want, then nothing gets done, or the other way around. Like the university is like, oh, if not the way that I want it, then Preston like move out. You have to like push those to be in the middle ground. And maybe if you wanted a plan to make 10 things, maybe okay, we can do 5, and then the next 5 will work around it in the next few weeks or months or whatever, that's a great. And maybe maybe some people can see you as too pushy when you the things you were mentioning, but I think instead of seeing you like too pushy or like, oh, he's trying to make conflict, it's just like he's a really passionate person in the issue, and that's something that maybe many people confuses from being too conflicting person or like too pushy. Like
you're not being aggressive about it, you're being passionate about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what matters, because we need more passionate people in this world.
Totally. Before moving forward to the next question, I actually want to mention a little bit story that I'm pretty happy that you are SGA president and everything, because I remember like I had an issue like 3-4 months ago, I think, where I lost my camera, like an actual professional camera, and I was panicking because it wasn't even mine, it was Lennon, and I was like panicking. I walked around like 3 times STC and everything, and I couldn't find it, and I was just like panicking. I didn't know what to do. It was like 8 p.m. on a Thursday, like it was like really abandoned building, and then I just saw you like I don't know who you're talking about. You were there, and I just remember, well, he's a president. He at least should know what should I do next. Maybe he can relax me. So I approached you like super like shaky with anxiety and everything, like you don't know me. I know you're the SG president, but can you help me? I just lost my camera. And you like super chill, like super relaxed. You told me what to do, like, oh yeah, well, if your object was lost, you can go this place or this place, and you even like pointed at me like this place is in that direction and this other place is in that other direction, and 3 possible outcomes can happen. And you told me like actually the 3 possible outcomes like step by step, and by then I was like, oh my god, yeah, like why I'm so concerned about it. Like he actually helped me, and you were telling me like, yeah, like don't worry, man, you'll find it. And then you even like, I think like after half hour you found me again, and you actually asked me like, oh, did you find the camera? And you followed me up. So I'm super glad that you're SGA president. I don't think anyone will do that. I don't know, who knows, but yeah, I'm pretty happy, and thank you by that, because you actually helped me, and I could find my camera. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, of course.
Like I said, we need more people like this on the campus.
I do remember that though. I think we were coming out of an SGA committee event, and I remember you coming up to me. I hadn't made the connection that you were the same person who does like the podcast until Maya had brought it up, and I was like, oh, that's why camera podcast. You know what? It was there, like it was right in front of me.
Yeah.
No, yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah,
So
of course.
moving forward to that, right now, as we are recording and we're speaking, the SGA elections are happening, and by the time we posted this new episode, the new SGA president will be elected. So what would you like to say, any tip or any advice to the next SGA president?
So any advice I would like to give to the future SGA president would probably be take it one step at a time, because it's going to be a lot that's going to be needed from you, and it's going to be a lot that they're going to throw at you, right? So like I said before, right off the bat, I was already appointing people to these really, really important committees that everybody, like that the students needed if we wanted to give feedback, right? And it's going to look overwhelming at first, but if you are able to just control your breathing, go into it, just start with one thing at a time, then you'll be able to succeed. And also remember that whenever you're doing stuff like this, it's never by yourself. You're SGA president, yes, but even you need help, right? Because I mean, every president that's been elected has been human. And so that's definitely another piece of advice. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to, I know it's super generic, but it really helps, right? Don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it be your advisors, whether it be some friends who aren't even in SGA, maybe they have an outside perspective, maybe it's even your SGA officers. Like, even though you hold that title, you still are allowed to ask for help from your people, right? And that's definitely something that I had to do, that I had to work with as well. Also, that whenever you delegate something towards somebody, like if you ever give someone a task, just make sure that you trust them with that task, right? So for example, like if I were to give a project to somebody, right? If I gave a project to you, I need to be able in my heart to trust you and say, you know what, this person's going to do good with the project. And if they're not, they'll ask for my help and I'll be able to be there. But I can't be micromanaging all the time because, well, you have academics, you have the presidency that to take care of, right? So just making sure you don't overwhelm yourself with thinking like, oh, wait, like, is this going to go bad? Is this going to go good? You get me? Yeah. And so, yeah, that's definitely things that I would give to the next SGA president. Like, it's just a whole lot of like just trusting others, trusting yourself that you're going to make good decisions as well. Like I said, like there's going to be self-doubt at times, but once you think that's the best solution, just go for it, because you never know whose life you can change or what you can change in the university.
Do you have any like expectations for the future of SGA?
Expectations for the future of SGA. I expect that we are going to grow bigger in size. Let's hope. I expect that all systems, like right now, like for example, like our organization, our structure and the way that we're built is very minimal to just senators, justices, and executive branch, right? Yeah. I would love to see in the future those different roles branch out to specific areas like legislative affairs, or you've got like VP for something, right? So we have one executive vice president. I would love to see a VP role just extend all the way around. I would also expect that the tradition of Senate as a family continues, because I think that's something that really had everybody working with each other, right? These people who like came together every day, Monday at 3:30, they weren't just like students who just came together. They were people who had bonds with each other, who worked well with each other. Mm-hmm. So I definitely expected that. I expect that from the SGA, and just like I also expect from the SGA is like just a lot more advocacy, right? I mean, we're starting to see a huge rise in that right now. Like senators I know have protested against certain issues. I know senators have gone out there and actually like spoken their mind. I just expect like that culture to just keep on rising, and hopefully like we become more of a staple here at TAMU.
Keep the momentum going.
Keep the momentum going. Let it grow. Yeah.
If anybody on campus would like to join SGA, how would they go about that?
So right as of this moment, the Student Government Association applications are closed since we are during election season. But if somebody would like to join next semester, they can go to TAMU Trailblazers, and they can go, and there should be a hyperlink in the front and the left box, like first thing that you see. first box, first hyperlink, and it should say Student Government Association application. And those are going to be applications for any vacant spots that you might have, right? That we might have in the association. And from there, you put in your application, and depending on what position that you have, so if you're running for a VP, if you're running for an executive branch position, the student body president is going to reach out to you. If you're running for a senator position, the vice president will reach out to you. If you're working towards being a justice, the chief justice at that time will reach out to you. They'll reach out to you for an interview. They'll take in all applicants, and then they'll send you an email in about a week or so.
Yeah, you really know everything
Yeah.
about
He's
SGA and all
like,
around
I'm the
it.
president. I know this.
I am an SGA nerd. Let me tell you, my first year in SGA, I was watching just like Senate meeting after Senate meeting from other organizations. I was diving into like TAMU, like Senate history and all of that, just making sure that I know all my stuff so that I can bring that knowledge towards like this year. I even went to a conference for student governments, like
Oh my God.
yeah, that they held in College Station. So I tried to make, yeah, thank you. So yeah, I try to make sure that I know everything so that I'm able to bring it to everybody, and so that they can like bring it to the organization, they can implement the ideas, and they can build it bigger.
That's good. That's amazing, honestly.
Yeah, like Rosa has said during this podcast, like we need more people like you, like with that energy of like, if I'm going to be there, I'm going to be like fully on, just not just like for the name or like, oh yeah, just to put it on my resume, not like you actually are there like present. So that's great.
No, you need the passion for it, because if you don't have the passion for it, like, are you really gonna get anything done?
Not really. And it's also like, if you don't have the passion for it, you're just not gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like it's like going to be working for the students, but if you don't enjoy working for the students, then you're not going to have an enjoyable time as president.
I think we can conclude that on a high note. Those Devils, you hear the man itself. He was like real passionate about it.
Yeah,
he has the
definitely.
energy, some great advices for the future SGA president. But I think those advices can also apply in general to all of us in the university. Like, don't be afraid to ask questions.
You're not alone in this.
You are not alone in this, totally. And time management, I think also is the key. Like,
definitely.
be aware of your time, and also don't self-doubt yourself. You can give the luxury, but just a little bit. And mostly of the positive what if, as you mentioned, not of the negative what if. Focus on the positives. Yeah, and it was a really pleasure having you.
Thank you all for inviting.
No, thank you for accepting the invitation.
Yes, definitely.
It was a great conversation. I really loved it. Thank you very much for all your confidence and just being able to share everything that you just shared. Like, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so there you go, Dust Devil. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Dustipod, and see you next time, and very, very good luck on your finals.
Yeah, guys, good luck. You guys got this.
Well, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.